Alright, I think stream is started, so welcome to the stream. Try करते हैं आज Apex थोड़ी बहुत और कुछ और भी probably. And first of all let me check कि stream okay है या नहीं, या कोई frame draft तो अभी तक नहीं है. I'm sure ये नहीं रहेंगे. And one thing more कि I will not be able to read comments or likes or anything because एक ही monitor है और उस पर गेम पे फोकस रहेगा. ये स्ट्रीम की विंडो तो मैं देख ही नहीं पाऊँगा. ओके गुड, 7 Mbps पे अपलोड हो रही है और विदाउट ड्रॉप, सो दैट्स गुड. ओनली 10 Mbps अपलोड स्पीड है यहाँ पे मेरे पास और 7 पे अपलोड हो रही है. सो दैट मीन्स के ऑलराइट, दैट मीन्स क्या ये क्या कहते हैं 3 Mbps मेरे पास गेमिंग के लिए है अपलोड. सो आई होप ओके रहेगा. ओके वन थिंग मोर के मैंने क्या किया है, हाँ माइक म्यूट कर दिया है बिकॉज ऑफ द बैकग्राउंड नॉइस. सो कर दिया था, मैं दोबारा करने जा रहा हूँ.
Level 2. Backpack here. Level 2.
Reckon I can make use of that.
heirloom shards. ये कैसे? ऐसे भी होता है क्या? I've got heirloom shards. That's big. I don't know इससे कितने heirloom shards मतलब heirlooms बनेंगे. But it's big. Probably वो जो 500 होते हैं ना, क्या नाम है, 500 जो what we say, वो जो क्या कहते हैं इसको, ये जो बॉक्स टाइप या जो भी है ये खोलने होते हैं, तो वो आई थिंक कंप्लीट हो गए होंगे. There's something like that. चलो ट्राई करते हैं इसको, आगे कंटिन्यू करते हैं. I'm going to unlock heirloom of, अगर इससे heirloom unlock हो जाता है तो heirloom of probably, ये पता नहीं बाय डिफॉल्ट हो गया है तो स्किन है, इसको तो छोड़ दो. हो जाता है कि नहीं हो जाता, आई डोंट नो, क्या हो गया है बाय डिफॉल्ट. कौन से लेजेंड पे लाल निशान है? इस पे है. अबे तो इंट्रो है, छोड़ दो. Alright, I have heirloom. I can open heirloom. किसका ओपन करूँ ये मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. ट्राई करते हैं आजकल की कैसे अनलॉक किया जाए, अगर हो जाता है. आई होप हो जाता होगा. लेट्स ट्राई करते हैं. यस 150 से परचेज होगा और मेरे पास 150 ही है. So let's try purchase it. Got it. Got it.
When you see me, you'll know it's the end.
Pause. ठीक है, और heirloom तो I think by default ही equipped हो गया होगा. Can I see it? चलो मैच ट्राई करते हैं तो पता चलेगा. Let's go और मैच में चेक करते हैं. Quack. I don't know what was the emote because I'm unable to read it here. And I'm sorry, I cannot read comments while playing. That's because I have only one monitor. Right now. What is this sign about? Is it about the heirloom? I don't have heirloom. I think I have to equip it. What the fuck? I forgot my gun. Where is my gun? What the fuck I had? Think I had R301. The teammate needs me. What the fuck? Where's the heirloom? Let me check again. I own it, but where to equip it? Is it? Oh yeah, I think gravity mount. That was it. Let's try it. अब देखते हैं इसको. very, very high ping.
Nothing surprises me. Introducing your champion. Your jump master newty. Times.
Alright, it will be a bit difficult because I have this time selected ranked match.
Got
And what do you guys think makes a good team?
I think that it comes down to coordination and care for each other and looking out for each other as well. And Sarah, you have been the absolute highlight of my life. You have showed me how to be cared for and what love is. And I wanted to know, would you be my forever duo?
Wow!
All right.
will have a big edge. They've already rotated out of launch site and just onto the low ground outside of it. And we're talking about teams like TSM, Ascend as well, Optic, who come from Big Mod, that are also going to be able to put themselves in much better, more stable positions.
For teams like Xset, landing all the way up in Skyhook, this has been an absolute statistical nightmare for them. But you're right, Optic, Ascend, all of the teams that have been able to make it through, TSM will grab that ring console information from Lava Siphon and immediately know that they can just live in this area. But it's Dark Zero who hit the quickest rotates that I have ever witnessed and will poise themselves just on that low ground. Now thinking about playing that position, if we're already hedging the bets that it's going to end on the low ground outside of Lava Siphon by tunnel, that is an aggressively terrible zone.
And in fact, though, you talk about Dark Zero's quick rotate, they do it because we've seen TSM win from that very same spot, and after rotating through in Ring 1 as well. So Dark Zero holding down by this geyser near the tunnel outside of Optic is actually going to work out pretty well for them, you have to imagine. We'll see how far they make it into this game, but NRG, they've got an arguably more difficult road ahead of them, needing to go all the way through the south again and fight against multiple squads, take the risks that we've talked about to put themselves on top. With Jinx going down in the top right, it means the start of fight may very well fall here as well, as they are going up against Moist, and that's not a fight that I'd be taking if I were.
Lost due to the reload problem. I did not reload it. Did not reload that gun. Okay, for now let's watch the A
We're on
and
the verge of
GS.
elimination.
Well, this is tough, right? You've got
TSM's position will age really well.
Because,
There's like wine, Dark Zero's a little bit more like milk. However, with a fuse
qualification
up on
stage
high
to the
ground,
next round
there'll be
among
plenty
these
that
two
TSM
teams.
can do to exert pressure on teams that would take
10 will
other
qualify
positions
and
that
10 will
I think
play the next
most
round
would
with
really
them.
like. I'm thinking specifically of
And
the truck
we-
just
here,
outside
10 winners,
southeast of Lava
and
Siphon.
here,
It
10 winners
oftentimes ends up being a
will play
great late game
final
position. This time, as
here.
long as TSM's alive, as long as Dark Zero's alive, as long as the fuse is in the game,
they already
that truck is
qualified the
not
top
safe.
teams.
Look, this is going to be the
Because
only
it's the
breather we're
last
going to
match.
get this match with the game being
So,
officially paused. It is time to just sit
these
and
guys,
we wait
you know,
here.
from
We
the
get
last,
a good look at just how
10,
locked in our teams
I guess
are,
it's
ready to
from
make
7th
something happen.
position
Now,
till
with these
the
official pauses, players essentially
last
aren't
position,
allowed
they
to
have
talk to each other. They're going to
competition
keep those
to be in
headsets
top
on.
10.
But for the teams that are on the bubble, that are still up and at it, NRG, Sentinels, Moist, so many things that are being waiting to unlock. Just mere 3 to 4 points, 3 to 5
Game
points,
paused.
even FaZe. Yeah, just 8
They
points
have
away
now
from where Tom
option to
Young-Kung
pause
is
a game
sitting
in the
currently.
competition.
It puts a lot of pressure on their performance here,
They
and
have
as I
the rule,
said,
I mean to say.
that's what's the most difficult, is needing to find even a single kill to keep yourself in the top bracket, or even worse, needing to push yourself there this game, because it'll make you more
Someone
likely
crashed,
to take
someone PC
risks
crashed
that you otherwise
in the
wouldn't.
comments.
Risks that, by avoiding them, have gotten your team to this point. And especially if it goes wrong, you're now even more at risk of starting to lose that momentum that you've gained over the course of group stage once we drop into the elimination bracket.
And that's going to be really tough because I couldn't imagine when we're talking coming into the final map here of the winners bracket, the heavy-hitting names, the Titans, and as we look through the crowd, they are waiting on pins and needles now. The Alliance fans, they are hyped. Yes, they did go down to that dojo because here's the deal. Even if we talk about drop spots for the finals day, right? That is a power move. If the dojo can essentially beat in that contest, because you don't want to go into match point finals with any kind of contest on any map.
You know, what's funny is that, speaking of contests, I was looking at some tweets from Kick earlier
Ooh,
today.
okay.
You'll recognize
Curious. I'm
Kick.
very curious about this one.
Yeah, you'll recognize Kick because they're no longer part of the tournament. However, one of the things that they were talking about in the moment was about their contests against TSM at both Siphon and Wall, where it was important to them, for I think a mystery to many of the international viewers, to constantly run into TSM. However, once we went into the elimination bracket yesterday, they did end up getting those POIs completely uncontested, which was what they were trying to do. Just say, you know what, we're going to go here anyway, so that other teams wouldn't then challenge them for it in the elimination bracket. And that, to an extent, is going to be true of Alliance. Since they are continuing to go thermal, since Dojo are so willing to contest them, other teams are going to be less likely to opt into a position where they already know that you're willing to throw your game. Many teams will be unlikely to want to opt into that 50-50 or even 70-30, as it sometimes tends to be. Now, refocusing on the game that we were just watching, we did previously tease the Singularity phase traffic jam that was occurring towards the north side of the map, and I do have it confirmed that XSET was actually taking a further east rotation than they otherwise normally would. So, looking forward to how that'll turn out. The likelihood is that all three teams will clash, and likely with another one who's around the edge.
Once those Titans start to poise up against each other, and just thinking of all of those things, seeing the highlights that we witnessed yesterday, and just the teams that are waiting to play even more so. I know Complexity had such a clashing issue just early on throughout the group series. They'll find themselves waiting to face off against potentially some of these teams later today after this final match. And honestly, mentioning Complexity, I kind of want to check in. We have this really cool thing that we debuted for Monsoon yesterday. It was the music and the hype, and we have a little bit of information while we sort out a bit of a technical issue. Let's go ahead and roll this and see just how that song came about.
I've been thinking of ways to keep you out today. You don't know how much your words mean. You don't know how much your words hurt me. You don't know how much your words mean.
I had no idea that I didn't even miss that when he posted it on Twitter, right? Like he was singing that, he was prepping that, and this kind of goes through the process of him in the studio creating this moment that we got to drop just a few. Wait, Onset?
Yeah, you know, Onset plays in a band. They're, oh, what are they called? They're called. I'll come up with it later. We've got the footage of, obviously, them finally getting to listen to the song, and what really struck me was the emotion afterwards that it inspired in our really talented player. We then got to see Monsoon go on to win a game just moments later over by Wall, which was a fantastic finish.
Well, there's something about putting all of your heart and soul, and yes, a lot of our players do that here on the stage for our fans, for themselves, but when you really take all of that emotion and you package it into a music and you hear it for the first time here, just reigniting and making both of those passions come together, it's absolutely wild, and you can check it out. I believe it's on the Play Apex Esports Twitch channel as well, and you know, on the Twitter, on the timelines, all across social media. So cool that they were able to share that moment here with the fans, with the players, with everyone. But as we keep waiting, I see a little bit of sheesh love there for the dojo.
I do wonder how Dojo are getting on right now. I mean, they must feel really good after the double contest that they've won, and yet they are still pretty far off from contention. I obviously, from here, can't tune into the comms because I would love to hear what kind of stuff they're talking about and how they're planning their approach to this game and perhaps to the lower bracket.
Well, Lions, all or nothing. The fans in the crowd still heavy with support, lying in wait. Will they have done enough on the Storm Point matches to get there? Because now, with the game resuming, I do feel like Yuki at this moment. When we get to that 5, we're about to see what is going to happen.
And the game resumes just like that. We are back into it with that triple clash that I talked about moments before. FaZe, Singularity, and XZ all stuck in a standoff around the outside of Lava Siphon.
Both teams able to get back to full health, but it's going to be Team Singularity that occupy the choke, that are able to get down into Geyser just that much more quickly. From here, they will be able to watch as XZ must decide their path of least resistance.
Now, as Singularity disengaged into Geyser, it does mean that FaZe have disengaged into Lava Siphon. And one of these teams is going to be followed. I suspect it's going to be FaZe, because moving into Lava Siphon is a whole lot more efficient than then having to make your way out of Geyser. Except for the moment will bide their time, but with FaZe on the low ground and not on the better side of this ring, there is still a fight in their future. They just have to pick a smart one.
Hitting the grab lift for a little bit of verticality as they move ever so closely to the last known spot of Moist Esports. That team was taking up so much space here. MT had recently had this to be able to overlook and scout out for that squad. You saw the incoming scan come through, and you're right. XZ went ahead and mirrored FaZe's rotation, but they have the high ground. They're going to drop down just a little bit, maybe go ahead and approach from a different angle, but they are already pinging this tunnel.
It's a difficult tunnel to play, not because it's going to be tough to find or rather have access to, but because it'll be difficult to make your way out of. In all likelihood, the squad has already been through here. In fact, we know that Sentinels were in the area recently and have already set up defenses around the inside of this major building in Lava Siphon. So do you exit towards the south? Do you take on a squad that's trying to rotate in, play edge from there, who's itching for a fight? Or do you opt into a fight with a team that already has a defensive setup? That's not a great spot for XZ to be in.
It's really tough for XZ because you know the teams that typically rotate out through Harvester that have done so are going to be Oxygen Esports and Vayne, likely going to get caught off guard and then double down with the Black Hole, the incoming nades that should be a clear knock, if not just down to 1 HP, and they're not overextending off of high ground, they're just exuding enough pressure to keep Oxygen from rotating in on them. But Sentinels that are going to be the team occupying Command Center are essentially sandwiching XZ.
Archaon got what he wanted. They no longer have to pick this fight. Sentinels get to retreat back into their defenses, now with blue shields on their IGL. It may not seem like much, and back in Split 2 playoffs, we'd be going, blue shields, is that a joke? But here, it means a whole lot more. In Champs, shields are so much more scarce, and XZ, hungry for that, having gotten the data that there's 25 less HP on each member of Sentinels, could very well choose to abuse their advantage.
Well, it's kind of tough. You mentioned the shields, right? You think back to when leveling up a white Evo shield was so simple. 150 damage was all it required to hit blue. Now it's 200, and honestly, honestly. Knock is just sitting on gold. He's prioritizing it with 16 shields, just kind of keeping the pressure on, but not necessarily finding the easiest of rotations. And FaZe Frex, you're going to be completely caught off guard. No rotation for you.
That's pretty unfortunate. FaZe just waiting around for a little while and ultimately trying to pick a fight with, I assume, multiple squads off of that odd rotation. Ultimately can't do much. I do believe there's one member. There it is, Phony, right beneath them. Next set are going to jump down, and despite the amount of damage that Phony was able to do, it's not going to be enough to clutch up. FaZe likely going to be playing things out from the elimination bracket.
FaZe and Ascend both fall. FaZe was sitting just ahead of his X-Set on the leaderboard, and Ascend was in a top 5 position. So for the teams that are inside the top 10 falling this early on, it's going to allow for a shakeup should teams like X-Set keep performing incredibly well.
Oxygen did manage to get control of this tunnel beforehand, however, and with the zone starting to close in, they no longer have to hold it, just making sure that X-Set can no longer rotate as quickly as they otherwise would have been able to. IBG take a fight in the south, and this will ultimately be for positioning over LG Chivas.
Yeah, but if they fall here, they're going to seal themselves a ticket to elimination round 2, so Ziki is going to have to stay alive. They're just mere points away from a top 10, but a reset would be needed. With teams like Optic just getting high ground and insanely damage suppressing towards the other teams, this is going to be tough. The best thing about Optics, they get those big mod weapons and they're able to utilize them incredibly well.
And they should be clearing out their backs right now. Optic have one member left to hunt down in the south, while Singularity have to clear all of Dark Zero out of this low ground. Horizon ult going to be very quickly finished off, but Singularity get cut off by a wall, unable to access high ground without the use of a gravity lift.
Bin, Elysium, and Arton, they just kind of sit here. But 17 squads have found themselves into Ring 4. And once this ring starts to close in just over a minute, it's going to be chaos. And Elysium trying to find an angle. You hear the grab lift coming out. They're trying to put a pressure move onto Oxy Gaming.
Yes, Elysium. He has always been the fighter of Singularity, but here in this tournament, it has not been enough. Dark Zero finish them off, and Realize come in to say neither of you really get the W. Dark Zero go down, and it costs Realize almost nothing. It gains them everything.
So 2 teams that were on the cusp of a Buzz Bowl just inside the top 10 have fallen and must sit there and wait. And Moist Esports, the team that is looking to break into it, still up in a 3-man stack, completely kitted out, and are just able to put as much pressure down. Now they reign supreme of that northeastern side. They do need to have a rotation ahead of them, but this is where their work is cut out for them, and Realize is looking to make the push.
They're going to have to, likely contesting Moist for the high ground. There is a truck available in front of Moist, one that started a fight recently inhabited, as evidenced by the black market inside. Waltz will be able to make use of this along with the rest of the squad, healing up, hopefully finding a few ordinances to use for later, and importantly, getting a bit of the loot that Dark Zero and Singularity left behind on the low ground.
This zone had previously looked like it would potentially pull straight back towards Lava Siphon, but it will be just in front of that main building, and TSM will be the first team to leave Lava Siphon and make a move towards that next zone. They see where they want to poise themselves, but it's LG Chivas that land in launch sites, that stay there, that know the position they need to have, and Moist on the high ground, putting pressure onto Realize.
It's a really difficult position for a squad like TSM to have just put themselves in. They've got no cover. They're relying on the chaos that teams like Moist create, and already we've got a few falling. Unfortunately for them, it looks like start a fight, suffer losses, start a fight, go down, keeping them out, even with their win of the next round in the finals, going instead down to the elimination bracket.
X-Set have also found themselves in the circle, looking to be privy to the fight that's breaking out between Moist and Realize. These are 2 teams that sit ahead of X-Set that will need to go down as NRG has fallen. Did they do enough to find themselves in the winner's bracket? Can Waltzy take this fight? Realize they lose out on Zone Shoot, and looking for the full, they're able to grab it.
10 squads left, and we're starting to accumulate even more placement points, those small little bits that could very well change a team's entire outlook on the next couple of days, or rather the next 2. We do still have a move made from Moist, a team that did make it out previously in first place, but they're pushing on to the spot that Dojo hold, where Dojo just cleared out start a fight.
Dojo able to get Designful back on their feet, looking to try and hit a full reset and then grab lift back towards the high ground, but not necessarily towards the front. Design will double down and look through the doors, but Moist is on top of them as Realize has officially fallen into the hands of Xset.
Well, Waltzy actually takes a really good angle there, but Dojo are playing this very well, making sure that Moist cannot finish a fight even onto the already weakened members. We've got an Optic against Xset fight brewing in the south, however.
But this is make or break for Xset, and even then it might not be enough. Knock 10 HP and a dream, they will fall. Waltzy picking up all of those eliminations have now broken into the top 10. If you're an APAC South fan, this is everything that you've wanted.
Moist in the top 7 for now with Optic jumping in right behind LG. They are changing LG's game for the worse here. And even with a spot so close to home, missing Jaguares and Niesel, there's very little you can do.
And this is a battle for advanced starting points now. Now that Optic have found themselves into the top 3, they're inching ever so closely towards the potential of 10. But Moist on that left-hand side, MT in the dead center of them. But it's gonna be Knocked, who just opens fire.
Let's not forget that overlooking all of this, there is Dojo, who can still, with a big win, make it into the finals. The takedown from Hal is gorgeous, and Optic and Oxygen are gone. 5 squads left, and Dojo are gonna start sending it onto TSM.
Yeah, but Reps is down. If Hal doesn't get him back here, he will not be back up. Moist has fallen. Reps has risen. Now Verholz just hiding behind that dark veil. You can see Timmy there as well. Design has fallen. Timmy is playing his life, and they have done enough to get into at least 9th place for now.
8 squads so far. This is huge, huge for Dojo. Rather 8 kills. Timmy's gonna have to survive for as long as possible, seeing if you can gather just a few more placement points. 4 squads left, and a little bit of damage thrown out by Timmy, but it's TSM on the low ground that still have to contend with the last member of LG, the last member of Dojo, and the full squad of, it's Dreamfire.
Oh, Dreamfire is going to be a beast to fight against. You can see Yanya right there, and Dreamfire with all of their space occupying that ultimate high ground. You put an L-Star in Sandwich's hands, you know what happens.
Up here, plenty of ammunition left, plenty of high ground. What they won't have as much of is cover during the next ring. Dojo go down, LG go down. Dreamfire are pushing for the win, but they haven't got enough, even a crack. Can they play this perfectly?
TSM in 10th. They have put themselves into contention for advanced starting points, and Dreamfire full sending down. Roy falls, 3MC falls, and TSM, they are going to find themselves in the winner's bracket.
Dreamfire have been on a rampage this tournament, but in the last game of the winner's bracket, TSM take them apart. What a play! And from the low ground, no less, Tim.
That is absolutely impressive. Had they not gotten Reps back up in that specific instance, things could have changed. Honestly, better late than never.
I've spoken to many IGLs over my time in Apex Legends, and the biggest thing has always been that the great IGLs risk the game to win the game, and TSM did that multiple times in this match, moving down towards the south, contesting LG for space, clearing out, and even taking on the Dojo at a disadvantage, using Verholz and then Hal to cover the rest of the squad as team after team thought that they could take on TSM.
Dreamfire doing enough. Was the Dojo's performance enough? Because with TSM making it into the top 10, the question is, at what cost to the other teams who were in the top 10 lying in wait?
Dreamfire, I mean, they're going, and I am so excited to see them, because one thing changes, one corner gets checked in that fight, and it's Dreamfire whose praises we're singing for their incredible awareness and control over this map up until that final moment. Dojo as well, they were the big story in this last map, making it all the way into the top. I believe it was 3, but it was pretty close that they and LG went down together. There's plenty of points and kills that were collected by them.
That's true. Dreamfire coming into this final map were in 3rd, but now we wait. But for now, TSM has solidified themselves with some advanced starting points for tomorrow's match point finals.
It's incredibly close. But what I'm wondering as well, how close did Moist make it? They were a risky team in this lobby, ultimately wanting to make it to the finals tomorrow, wanting to meet the expectations that they set for themselves in Split 2 playoffs. They may have missed out on, well, they certainly missed out on making the same or meeting their expectations as they would have hoped. However, by how much? Will they have to play again? Now, those are my big questions.
Those are a lot of questions, and I guess we're gonna have to throw it to Rain Day to see if he's got some answers for us.
Well, the crowd in Birmingham is making some noise because not only did Dreamfire, did some of these amazing supported teams find their way into the finals, TSM has also found their way home, as many would say, to where they belong. It was a long and arduous road, 4 days and one final game that got them there, though, and the plot armor continues. We will see them with a chance to go back-to-back and become a 2 out of 3 LAN winner this year. Rain Day, Genome, Zephyr, Bullet back on the desk. Fellas, that was exciting. That is what Apex is about, and it gets better because we have more games coming up soon. But Genome, TSM, in that final circle, man, it felt like it was just a script, and we were just reading it out.
Right, I mean, even if you think about the 4 circles that we had there on World's Edge, they land at Lava Siphon. We get a thermal choke circle, launch site, dome, and then another one in between Siphon and launch site. It's like they were trying to give TSM a circle, and they just kept nudging it like closer and closer towards their home POI until they finally get it done.
You know, one of the interesting things for me is always seeing a team's reaction, and that reaction felt so passionate. This isn't just a Howl meme. It felt desperate. It felt like they knew how close they were to things going wrong, and it went so right. That was relief, and that was hype. Bullet, in the final zone, in the final fight, I want you to walk me through it as we play it here back again to revisit the moment, how TSM was able to come out on top and get themselves into Sunday.
Yeah, look, that was beautiful. TSM going from 15th all the way to 5th in one decision. As you can see here, they just rotate, they play under next to the geyser, they're fighting, they're doing as much damage as they can to the teams right around them. They're getting the armor swaps and they're using the util that they have. DF are controlling the whole high ground here and they're putting pressure, and the Bangalore goes down, as you can see, and they're just trying to stay alive. The main thing here is they managed to use the boxes around them to get the armor swaps out just to make sure they stay healthy.
All right, well, you know, I think too, Zephyr, when you look at this, a lot of people have talked about, obviously, the players. Those stories are amazing, but Reps has shifted onto the Fuse. It has helped in these moments where there are several teams and you're vying for positioning.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is something that Raven's been trying to make work for a long time here. And this is a great opportunity to truly see it shine. The zoning control, especially with that bombardment in some of these final zones, that stunned so many teams having the opportunity to truly lay lines of sight that would have punished TSM here. As a result, it is just that small little minute second that allows them to jump up from 4th to 2nd, which that officially did secure them the win, but they took it a step further with the pressure and much more beyond. They find the simple 3v3 deep in the pocket.
We highlighted Reps earlier. I think Tiff was the one to bring attention to him and her one to watch here. Dreamfire also highlighted. They placed 1st and 2nd. So I guess Tiff and Lauren know a lot about what they're talking about. Genome, though, 3rd is the Dojo. LG GeForce, they were fantastic. Moist Esports, we saw a little bit of a Moist watch party going on. Shout outs to them and the support coming into the org. But what's your takeaway here with these final 10 and, of course, our back half 10 of how game 8 finished?
Yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see how those points play out on the overall scoreboard. I think Optic will have secured themselves a spot with that. Moist probably going to be okay as well. Dojo were a little further down. You probably needed something around 6 points per game, somewhere between 5 and 6 to make it through in this series.
It does feel, though, that they've got what it takes to be able to find a way, even if they were to get knocked into the elimination round 2, to make it back. But those stats are about to be revealed to you in just a moment. When we have them, we will react to them on screen to see who is going to Sunday. We know TSM has made it, you can tell by the crowd, but who else will join them? We are about to find out. I know the break is here. And as we await that and to see what it looks like, I just think that one of the bigger stories is what has happened to Dark Zero. We know there were so many teams on the cusp. They were close. They were one of those 10, 9 place positions. Sentinels, they started so well. They got a win. Did they fall out after those performances? We are all just waiting with bated breath to see what those final standings are. And I want to... Here they are, ladies and gentlemen. It is Blackhand, LG GeForce, Dreamfire, Optic Gaming, TSM, Oxygen Esports, The Dojo. They will be in finals. Ascend, Moist Esports. They will be in the finals. And Realize, which means Dark Zero, our winners of our championships last year and our winners of our most recent Split 2 LAN, will have to fight 8 more games to see if they can get back. Sentinels as well, who have performed so closely, knocked out by TSM Surge from what was 16th place. Alliance as well, NRG, FaZe, XSET. They are all some of the biggest orgs in our game, and they will have to play a little bit later, Gino, and battle their way to the championship.
Yeah, look, those guys get another chance. Big shout out to Blackhand. That is actually one of the highest winners bracket scores that we have seen. 72, these brackets are often so tight because you just have so many good teams that 72 is actually a runaway success.
It is truly phenomenal. Zephyr, what has been your biggest takeaway from our 10 who are going?
From the 10 that are going here, I like the heart of new NA talent, especially in the likes of both Luminosity and Oxygen. Especially with how they started some of our games here, they performed outwardly the most dominant of the NA teams that joined us, which, especially when we compare that to the likes of TSM, Dark Zero, and more who have had their history, it's a bit of a surprise, but a welcome one indeed.
Yeah, one of the greatest things, I think, is that we've spent a lot of time talking about all of these stories as they've developed. Blackhand has been a big part of the conversation today as well. But because they ran away with it so much, I want another comment on just the winners of this series, Blackhand, from you and how they've performed so far.
Look, I have to say, APAC South represent. We have DF doing extremely well, Blackhand doing extremely well. You know, APAC South is here, we're doing damage, we're showing up and we're playing aggressive. As you can see, they are going crazy.
Well, you know, we got to give love where love is due. That's first place right there. But sometimes there's a story that's just so interesting. We got to hear more about it. And of course, that means that we need to hear from TSM and see how it feels to clutch up and find their ways into yet another championship. Standing by with Peeps is, I guess, now the best well-known Evan in Apex. I'm way behind now. It's Verholz with Peeps. Go ahead.
Rain, thank you so much. We are here with arguably the greatest controller player in the world right now. Dude, going from basically the bottom of the elimination bracket, right, to making it and getting the rest of the day off, what was going through your head, and like, what was the game plan?
I mean, our game plan was just stick to what we were doing. You know, I don't think our strategies weren't working earlier. I think we were just like making small individual mistakes, and we were just gonna, you know, just like stay confident in what we do, just play our game, and we know that, you know, we're gonna have a good game. And yeah, we just stuck to our plan, and you know, I think we just focused up that last game, didn't make any individual mistakes, nobody got caught out or anything, and just worked out.
I mean, that's amazing. Crowd's loving it as well. Crowd's absolutely loving it. I see the fam here in the arena. How does that affect you? Like, I mean, it must give you some sort of energy or, you know, a little something extra, seeing the family coming here to support while you're playing.
I mean, it's amazing having my family here. I mean, they just provide infinite motivation to want to try hard and win. Feels amazing. I'm super grateful to have a big family to come out and support me every single tournament. No, I don't know what I would do without them here.
Look at the smile on that face, man. That's love. That is love. So, in your eyes, right, who do you think, give me like a top 3 controller players from around the world. And by the way, feel free to put yourself at the top.
Top 3 controller players? All right, I'm gonna leave me and Hal out of it if it's biased. I'm just gonna do that. I'd probably go with Jen Burton in first. Jen Burton in first. I think it's a clear, easy first right there. Second, let's throw Effect in there. Effect. I put Effect in second. Third's a bit harder, let me think. I think I'm about to go with. I'm gonna go with Zainu.
Solid lineup. I heard somebody say my name in the crowd. You obviously have not seen me play because I'm not even close to that, man. You're crazy. So what is the game, without revealing any secrets here, all right? What is the game plan heading into finals tomorrow to win a share of $2 million and another championship under the belt, brother?
You know, nothing too crazy, you know. We're just sticking to our plans, doing what we came here to do, doing what we've been practicing for the last 2 months, 3 months. No, nothing too out of the ordinary. We're just sticking to our plan, you know, just doing what we practice. You know, we might have a few tricks up our sleeves, but you know, can't get those away too early. But yeah, we're just sticking to the plan.
All right. And so, Dark Zero, right, coming into this tournament, arguably, it's just, as of lately, it's been TSM Dark Zero, right? How does it feel knowing that these guys got to play another 8 games? They don't get you get more rest than them, and they have the potential to be kicked out of the tournament and sent home. You know, like, what do you think?
I think it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild to see them down there. You know, I'm sure that's like, it's kind of how everyone's like, back when we had to make a losers bracket run, I think everyone was a bit surprised. I'm personally a bit surprised. I think they'll make it through, but you know, anything can happen. And you know, a couple bad zones, a couple broken mentals, and you know, they could just fumble. Like I mean, now after having their placement now, like you never know. Like it could be like a mental like snowball, and they just like keep performing worse and worse. You know, so they could. I would not be surprised now to see them not make it.
I'll tell you this, I got faith. I got faith in the fellas. We hang out all the time, man. You can't, how are we gonna eat dinner and you know? But I think that's it. Shout out to Verhos. Everybody, let me hear it for him. Rain Day, take it away.
Thank you, peeps. I gotta say, pretty good list of controller players under pressure. I think a lot of people would have failed or said, oh, let me get that one back. Always nice to hear from Evan Verhulst, one of the class acts in Apex and esports. We love the family, always at the events and representing, and obviously he loves that they're in Sunday. Interesting also to see that he feels like Dark Zero could go on a little bit of a mental hill slide and maybe not even make it. I know a lot of people disagree with that. We'll have to wait. Those games are coming up very soon. But always, obviously great to have these 8 games. We've set up our winners, and we've set up some great stories.
Yeah, look, I definitely disagree with that one.
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, because I know how good a team they are. That's the real reason.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. I do disagree too.
He's going for the mental damage. He's going for the psychic damage.
Yes,
there,
he did.
Right.
He did.
Yeah, he's just sticking the boot in a little bit while he can, hoping that it ticks over once they. I'm almost certain you will see both of those teams on Sunday.
Yep, that'll be coming up very soon, Zephyr. But it's been a great day so far. These 8 games have given us a lot to. Whether we expected or did not expect it in terms of performance.
The winner's bracket is always something of its own beast, I would say. And for a lot of these